This is like my third time writing this script. I didn't want this video to be as much of a disaster as the first Pez was, so I kept revising the script and it just never stuck with me. So I'm gonna do the smart move, and that is to rush this script out in one afternoon and hope to God I can edit this video on time. That being said, let's move on to the actual topic. Weathering with You is a 2019, or 2020 for you nerds in America, animated film about water. Weathering with You follows our main character, Hodaka, on his quest to retrieve the Mace Window lightsaber from Fortnite. Okay, seriously though, Weathering with You is a film about Hodaka, a runaway boy who heads to Tokyo. There he meets Suga, who asks Hodaka to write various articles about various... I wrote various twice in the script. Supernatural conspiracy theories. However, once one of these theories turns out to be true, Hodaka is led to Hina, the best character in the entire movie, who is a mysterious girl who is able to manipulate the weather. The plot gets weirder from there, trust me. Makoto Shinkai is notorious for making amazing anime films. Your Name is one such film, and it's seriously my favorite movie of all time. Shinkai's worlds and stories are incredibly captivating and super interesting. After all, movies only have limited length, so being able to create a movie that feels full and interesting is an amazing achievement that isn't replicated much in the film industry today. You know, with the overabundance of money schemes and sequels. Shinkai, if you haven't already gathered, was the director of this film as well, and it's just as full and entertaining as Your Name. Almost. I'm not going to say anything about Your Name other than watch it, but that film is amazing to me and was my first interaction with Shinkai's work. I will say that Weathering with You would definitely gel more with general audiences, as Your Name is the weirdest movie of all time and little to nothing makes sense without you watching some sort of ending explained video on YouTube. Side tangent, why do these videos exist? I see videos like The Rise of Skywalker, ending explained. Like, if you go into that movie and you don't get the ending, you either have never seen the previous movies or you're brain dead. There's no in between. However, Weathering with You is, ironically, more grounded with its storytelling. While things do get supernatural and mythical, it does make sense the whole way through and is more of a traditional story as opposed to Your Name's body switching and Kuji Kamizaki story elements. The animation of this movie is stunning. Every frame is a painting, and it honestly makes me wonder why 2D animation is resented among the general audience. Like, I get why the general audience resents anime. Like, dear God, I have to wear headphones when watching anime to save myself from impending embarrassment. But with 2D visuals looking this incredible, it really makes you wonder why 2D isn't commonplace in modern film. Yes. Because it's a baby film. That's why. That totally makes sense. Oh, you watched the original Aladdin instead of the famous YouTuber Will Smith remake? What are you, some kind of baby? Only Klaus can save us now, people. One downside, which isn't really a problem with the animation itself, but the entire movie is drenched in rain, which I get is the entire plot of the goddamn movie, but with animation this stunning, it's sort of a shame that they don't get to entirely show it off very often. One thing I want to talk about before we move into spoilers is the soundtrack by RADWIMPS. It is incredible. Obviously, Grand Escape is mentioned a lot, as well as its amazing full version that isn't used in the movie whatsoever, but no one seems to be mentioning the quieter tracks, like how Fireworks Festival is just this film's Katawa Doki and it's amazing. What is it pronounced? Katawari Doki? I don't care. And not forgetting Clear Sky and Lost, which is absolutely beautiful. Alongside Two Confessions, you know what, just listen to the entire soundtrack, it's amazing. The soundtrack uses certain elements to create an atmosphere, such as using reversed piano notes when Hina is reversing the rain, and using certain sounds and piano notes in Grand Escape to emulate the sound of rain. It's just all fantastic at building atmosphere, and every time I listen to the soundtrack it reminds me of watching the film. I do feel like how the soundtrack is used in the film is a bit hit or miss. Most quiet moments are fine, but certain vocal tracks play too close to each other, I feel, and some come in too soon, but other than that it's mostly great. Alright, now then. If you have not seen the movie, please click off of the video. Go watch a Fortnite video. Is Fortnite still relevant in 2020? Oh, it's not? Alright, cool. Do it anyway! This movie is an experience and it's worth watching yourself without spoilers. And yes, I am about to spoil the entire movie, so this is your chance to click off. You gone? Okay, cool. At the very end of the film, Hodaka and Hina okay, no, but what we are gonna do is go through the entire movie and state what I enjoyed and what I didn't enjoy. It's gonna be mostly positive, though. I love this movie, give me a break. Okay, so the movie's opening is great. Kind of. It's purposely pretty vague and it's super intriguing. However, if we're talking about the very, very beginning, I don't like how the film opens with Hina becoming a weather maiden. I think that's for way later in the film, or at least until we actually meet Hina, not for the beginning. I don't know, I just feel like the supernatural element should come in naturally, not in the first scene of the entire film. And I mean, without this scene, the film does a great job at slowly building up the supernatural element. We see weird things happening with the rain on the boat from Fortnite. We see these two kids run into a dark alleyway and get ambushed. Oh, don't worry, officer, it was by a giant rainfish, nothing suspicious about that. We see a weird skyfish jumping on a windowsill. It's built up fantastically, every element slowly getting weirder and weirder, but never crossing the line of too weird, what the hell am I watching? Anyway, we meet Suga, which is a great guy. Am I pronouncing that right? Suga? I feel like I'm not. I feel like it's like Suga. I've got to like put the Japanese accent on it. Suga. Anyway, we meet Suga, I hope I'm pronouncing that in the correct Japanese way, which is a great character. He doesn't get much screen time, but this is how you write big tough boy gets softened by kids. Not the dumb, stupid John Cena method, this is how you actually do it. He's just overall really charming and funny. I love how much he actually ends up caring for Haruka, especially how he doesn't really believe in what Haruka is saying about Hina at the end of the film, but it's clear that he has some trust in him, despite him sounding mentally insane. Anyway, so Haruka goes to McDonald's with a gun.
Sweet dollar tea from McDonald's.
Yep. For his neutral special.
Hey, I don't need to explain how we got here, okay? You should have already seen the movie. If this sounds stupid to you, then I don't know what to tell you. Okay, he finds a gun in the bag after being kicked out by this douche and ends up in a Macca's. Happy now! He then meets Hina, who is an employee working there. Hina is bright and bubbly and she's amazing. She's written super well, she's a bright and bubbly character, but never felt like a carbon copy of Mitsuha, which is another Shinkai character who is also bright and bubbly. Hina develops her own personality throughout the film, and I feel like this is in part to Shinkai's knowledge of human beings and how they interact. This film is not Your Name. The main character is not both of the two characters. The main character in this film is very clearly Haruka. However, both characters still have a surprising amount of depth and uniqueness to their character. They both feel like individuals, and I love that. Hina gives him a free burger, which I mean, come on, that's the biggest flirt of the century. Nothing screams, you're cute, like a free Big Mac from a doomed to die weather girl. That's when Haruka heads to Suga's place. Am I pronouncing that right? Suga's place and meets Natsumi. Remember when I said Suga didn't have much screen time? That's true, but at the same time, he had enough screen time. Natsumi does not. It's a shame because she's easily the funniest character in this movie. Anime humor is always super hit or miss for me. Japanese people have a very different sense of humor than the West, and even then, most jokes are ruined by the language barrier, considering we can't appreciate the joke's execution or timing, considering we have to read off of subtitles. Even so, Natsumi's conversation with the psychic while she thinks that she might genuinely be a weather maiden is hilarious. Haruka bumps into Hina, being pestered by the jerk from earlier, who's trying to offer Hina a job at a club. Haruka, being the chad that he is, saves Hina from Jerk A's grasp. I've forgotten his name. He then begins to run on a rainy street. Yeah, good one, Haruka. He's pinned to the ground and gets the crap beat out of him. So, Haruka does the only logical thing. He pulls out his trusty gun and fires. Now responsible for the death of Jerk A, Haruka starts a revolution and becomes more and more insane until eventually he becomes the Joker. Nah, just kidding. He missed. But Hina uses that time to grab Haruka and scram. The scene is great, there's not much more to it. Hina drags Haruka to an abandoned building and she shows him her weather powers. That's really funny on paper. Also, she's almost 18, meaning that she's older than Haruka. This would have been a really cool dynamic if you didn't ruin it. From here, Hina and Haruka start a business in which they charge people to have the weather cleared up for them. That sounds like fraud. That sounds like Mr. O'Hare level fraud. I love the way the absolute misery of the rain is highlighted. Each character Haruka and Hina visit have a certain reason for wanting the weather to disappear, and this is crucial considering the final choice that's made. I'll get to that later, but here is when we see the public side. We see why the public want the rain to disappear, and it makes it seem like the rain disappearing is the best option for everyone. Oh, also we meet Nagi. He's pretty cool, I guess. Nothing more, he's not excellent. He only really serves as a third character for the characters to play off of, but he's got his own personality and charm, so that's enough for me, I suppose. Anyway, let's just skip this montage real quick. Wait, is that Taki? Is that Taki? Then the fireworks festival scene plays. This is the best scene in the movie. Not only is it gorgeous, not only does fireworks festival play, but the chemistry between Hina and Haruka really shines here. Shinkai is amazing at chemistry. It's unfortunate that so much of Your Name is spent with the characters so far apart, because God, he's good at this. It's the quiet moments that Shinkai absolutely nails. It's why the first part of 5 centimeters per second is as good as it is. A small, relatively quiet scene in which two characters are incredibly genuine. It's super sweet and I adore it. Anyway, so Mitsuha cameo. Hodoka buys Hina a ring, and this part sucks. It sucks. This is probably my least favorite part of the movie. The ring is so integral to their relationship, but spoiler alert, the ring plotline never gets resolved. There's a scene in the Grand Escape music video that's already been re-uploaded 18,000 times where Hodoka finally gives Hina the ring, but that's not in the movie. That's no, never. It's just not in the movie. Wouldn't it have just been perfect if the movie ended with Hodoka giving Hina the ring? It would have symbolized them finally being reunited. But nope, he never gives her the ring. What the hell? This is the most confusing and frustrating part to me. I mean, you've animated the scene. It's in the music video. Are you trying to advertise this for the digital release? Because it's so incredibly stupid. Take my money! Hodoka then tries to confess his love for Hina, but is interrupted by Scotty beaming Hina up to the heavens. Hina shows Hodoka that she's becoming one with the sky. Whatever that means. She shows Hodoka her hand and it's completely transparent. Hina mentions something fake about it, but it's just kind of forgotten about for a while. This would normally be a bad thing, but it's not here, and I'll get to that in a minute. The two head to Hina's apartment, but the SWAT team show up. Apparently they know Hodoka's a runaway, and they say that Hina isn't old enough to be living alone. So, what better way to fight being a runaway than running away some more? Hodoka has a chat with Suga. I still can't pronounce his name. Is it... I swear I'm saying it wrong. Suga doesn't sound right. Hodoka has a chat with Sugar and he sees him off. Hodoka, Hina, and also Nagi run off to find somewhere to stay, and that's when Hina summons the power of Thor and sends lightning down on police officers. They find a place to stay and then they just sort of hang out. Like I said earlier, Shinkai is really good at the quiet moments, and this is an example. The scene is easily one of the best scenes in the movie. It's just sort of the three main characters hanging out, and it works. It works super well. This is another moment that is quiet and genuine, and it's super powerful. Nagi passes out and leaves Hida and Hodoka alone. I see you, Gundam creator Yoshiyuki Tomino. Don't be getting any funny ideas, alright? This is a real article, by the way. I'm not joking. Hodoka gives Hina the ring. The scene is amazing. Hina asks Hodoka whether he wants the weather to be cleared up, and Hodoka responds with yes. Remember earlier when Hina showed Hodoka her transparent hand? This is when that plotline returns. By now you've mostly forgot about it, but it's still in the back of your mind, which is what makes this scene hit as hard as it does. Hina strips Tomino. It's revealed that her entire body is transparent. Hina tells Hodoka that if she's kept alive, Tokyo will stay under constant rain, and if she wishes for the weather to clear up too much, she'll end up being the sacrifice to make that wish come true. Remember that just a second ago, Hina asked Hodoka whether he wanted the rain to clear up, and he said yes. Also, remember how we got the public perception of the weather earlier on, highlighting how miserable life is if the weather would remain the same. Now is when the consequences of the movie are highlighted. Should Hina stay alive and the bad weather continue forever? Or should she make the sacrifice to improve everyone else's lives? This is the big dilemma of the movie, and it's handled super well. It's clear that everyone wants the rain to clear up, even Hodoka, but they're just not aware of the consequences. Hodoka and Hina cry together before Hina eventually fades away during the night, where she becomes one with the sky. And that's it, that's a wrap. Congratulations, everybody. I'm going home! Hodoka and Nagi are taken to the police station, and on the way, Hodoka finds the ring on the ground. Once again, it would have been better if the plotline was actually resolved. It's such a... polar opposite. What you normally expect, because here, the sun rising is a bad thing. The music highlights this, but hearing such gloomy music over visuals like this is super jarring, and I love it. We see how positive of an effect the weather clearing up has on the citizens, but the audience knows that this isn't right. But seeing the citizens so cheery over the weather highlights selfishness. You want Hina to come back, but at what cost? Hodoka breaks out of the police station. Oh no, Hodoka! They're after you! What are you gonna do? Well, brum motherfrickers! Here comes Natsumi! Natsumi rides in like the baller she is and saves Hodoka from the station and takes him to the mysterious grass cloud. As you do. Hodoka runs to the abandoned building with a shrine on top of it, from the beginning, so that he can go to the mysterious cloud thing in the sky to rescue Hina. It makes more sense in context. There he meets Shingard. There he meets Suga, right at the top too. Like, come on, Suga, we were so close. We were about to catch ourselves a Rayquaza and you just had to go and ruin it. Suga thinks that Hodoka is mentally insane, and I mean, I don't blame him. He clearly sympathized with Hodoka because he knows a bit about the Shrine Maiden myth, but he still thinks the kid's crazy. So Hodoka gains 30 Chad points by picking up the gun from earlier and just straight up pointing it at Suga's head. Damn, Hodoka. The Fuzz shows up, who threatened Hodoka back, and it turns into a standoff until Hodoka once again fires the gun. Jesus, Hodoka. Also, when was this gun loaded? Did he just find it loaded in the bag, that's when Is There Still Anything Love Can Do starts playing. Way too early. Seriously, the song is such a mood killer. The scene is tense and then suddenly this is right after Haruka fires a bullet! I think this song fits the scene, sort of, but not the section particularly. Couldn't you have just had a section of silence instead and then begin to play the song when the chase begins? Anyway, so they begin to fight, and Nagi, with the power of traps, comes in to save Haruka. Haruka sprints to the top of the building and becomes a shrine maiden. Or butler, I guess. Here's where Grand Escape plays. I love the soundtrack, and I adore Grand Escape, but not using the full version of the track is a waste. I'm sorry, right? Grand Escape is amazing, and the scene is amazing, and I get that I'm being super picky, but the full version is genuinely the best Weathering With You related track, and it's a shame they didn't utilize it here. I understand that the full version came out after the movie, but if one was being planned in development, wouldn't they prioritize making the full version? This part isn't on the script, I'm rambling. This is easily the most memorable scene. This is the Katawadoki scene. It's Katawari? Katawari. I pronounce it Katawari, right? This is the Katawari-doki scene, and it's excellent. The animation really shines here, no pun intended, because of the movement of their characters. They're super clumsy, but they move with so much strength and force, as if they're trying to fight against the wind. Which is exactly what they're doing. And here's where the choice is made. Sacrifice Hina, or Doom Tokyo. One of which fulfills the audience's desire. But on paper, the option is obviously Sacrifice Hina. I mean, given what we know about the rain and how terrible it makes life for everyone, the option is obviously Sacrifice Hina. So what do they pick? They save Hina. A lot of people might not like this decision, and that makes sense. I mean, like I said, on paper, the choice is pretty clear. And now is when I refer to the most infamous piece of psychological study ever performed. Does it count as psychological study? It makes me sound smarter if I say it's psychological study. The trolley problem. The choice is clear. Run over 5 people, or run over 1. Now, as human beings, you know that we all say the obvious choice. Run over 1. Kill 1 person to save 5. It's a clear and obvious choice, and that's exactly what's shown here. Doom every single resident of Tokyo to misery, or sacrifice 1 person. But things get a little more complicated when the choice actually has to be made. I mean, what if 1 person on the track was a good friend or a love interest? Would you kill them to save 5? And that's why I love this choice. It's not objectively the right choice, but then again, there is no objectively right answer. It doesn't matter what the choice sounds like on paper. We know Hina, and we know how much Hina means to Haruka, and that's what makes this choice justified to me. We return to Earth, now pouring down rain. Haruka is forced back home, he graduates, Tokyo floods, we run into Suga, Shingard? What is his name? And finally, we meet Hina again. And he still doesn't put the damn ring on! Movies like this remind me why we love movies so much. I mean, here I am, sitting in a theater watching John Cena do Fortnite dances to BTS, wondering why I even sat down, yet I still love watching films. Why? I saw Weathering With You in the theater, and guess who I was surrounded by? Not English people, I can tell you that much. By watching this film, I was indulging myself in another culture, as they were indulging in mine. I watched their spectacular film, and they watched the Angry Birds 2 trailer, in which the main gag is that the birds have to pretend to piss all over the place. Look, the greedy, cynical nature of Hollywood nowadays is nothing new, but it's definitely becoming oversaturated in film today with sequels, remakes, and just trash, just absolute trash. But it's always good to know that all it takes is one amazing film to rekindle my love. For every film like this, there's 100 more that suck, but it's just one film like this that can make me hopeful for the future of cinema. I'm not stupid, film's never gonna change. People will always be greedy, and people will always make bad movies. But all it takes is a Spider-Verse, a How to Train Your Dragon, or a Your Name to inspire more people to get creative and make experiences that will last with the viewers forever. And I'm so glad to add Weathering With You to that list. Wasn't that the cheesiest video ever?